dreamer? It is said that to best enjoy the light, you must first explore the heart and soul of the darkness. We are the artists who create in the shadows, whose dreams are designed to become your reality. I'm Stanley Wiater. Welcome to my world of the dark fantastic. Welcome to the world of dark dreamers. Are you a dark dreamer? Actress Julie Strain most revealingly is. Appearing in more than 100 feature films and video productions, Strain began her career following her reign as Penthouse Magazine's Pet of the Year. Although she has worked in nearly every genre, Strain has achieved her greatest recognition in a staggering variety of fantasy, horror, and science fiction films. Often portraying larger-than-life characters in these independent productions, the 6-foot, 1-inch actress is herself a force to be reckoned with. Beyond her current reign as the queen of the B film, Julie Strain has also achieved success as a still photographer for other genre film actresses and models. Julie recently invited us to her home in Beverly Hills, where she candidly, and often hilariously, explained what it takes to be a survivor in deepest, darkest Hollywood. Why have you worked so hard the last 12 years?
I really worked so hard the last 12 years because I didn't want to have to go back to hometown. And I wasn't supplementing my income at night, and I had to keep myself alive. I mean, thank God for Kevin Eastman, who kind of came along and saved me, because even though I was making 6 figures a year, you pay 40% of that to taxes, 20% to agent or manager, $5,000 for pictures, $6,000 for car payments. You got enough to eat out of a can. And that's making $100,000 a year, and that's busting my ass. I mean, I could show you my calendar from, 93, 94, 95, and there wasn't barely a day off in all that time, so. Well, I always wanted to be an actress, but once Andy Sedaris discovered me shortly after I became a Penthouse Pet, as a matter of fact, I sent them my magazine and said they should never make a movie without me again. And 5 pictures later, they heeded my advice.
Your first acting, I assume, would be the Penthouse videos.
I think I did a couple movies before the Penthouse videos, but yeah, that was some acting. And since I had done bodybuilding early in my career, when I was 17 or 18, I had a very nice awareness of body movements and things that were fluid, and I could make things look very sensuous and sexual without, having to lose a finger or two. So I applied that to every aspect of my career. But I always was dabbling in the movies. I was getting little parts and doing the lowest budget movies that you could ever imagine, like $50 a day or $100 a day. But it was great training. I used those movies to train on, and I wasn't a great actress then, and I'm still not, but I fooled everybody because I've done 105 movies, and they think I'm this big star and this Julie Strain, la la la. When you turn on a camera and I got 2 hours worth of makeup and hair on, yeah, I am that person, but not in real life.
So the films that you chose were basically, again, just to learn the craft.
The films that I chose were every single film and job that were ever offered to me for the first 8 years. I did not turn down a job, not one job. And at that point, I couldn't ask whether it was shot on 35/16 or fucking high 8. Do you know what I mean? It was like $200, I can put that towards that. 100 there, I can buy a new black dress for that movie. It was all just strategizing. It's like Vegas, you're gambling, and you just keep laying those chips out there hoping for the big payoff. And I think I got it. The reason why I became a movie star, I think, is because there was nobody else filling those shoes at the time. There was no big 6-foot 6-inch high heels, ball busting, kickboxing, spitting, spanking, dominatrix chick that's willing to headbutt guys and blow up helicopters and do all this crazy stuff. So I kind of created a niche for myself through Andy Sedaris and through this black leather pair of thigh-high boots that I bought, and I just ground those heels down in the mud, carrying those guns and running through Louisiana, and they're just chewed up to this day, but they're retired. And those were my money makers, as well as these.
Now, in terms of being a Penthouse Pet of the Year, did you think the doors that were opened were the doors that you wanted opened?
I had no choice. to do Penthouse. I needed a scholarship fund, and that's what Penthouse gives you. I was 28 years old at the time, or 29, 30, trying to get in Playboy, and even though they thought I was great, I was a little old for Playboy, and my hair was so bad. Penthouse was willing to believe in me and give me that scholarship money, and at the age of 31, they made me the Penthouse Pet of the Year. That's just so dynamic and cool and says so much to the women out there. I'm not always trying to win over the men. I want the women to feel strong and powerful within themselves, and I think through me, they feel that. As a matter of fact, I know they do, because I get 5 emails a day from women around the world just going, "Julie Strain, you rock! You changed my life. I watched you in this video, and now I know I can go out and change my career and do this, and I can wear what I want, pierce my tongue." I don't have a pierced tongue, but a lot of my fans have piercings and tattoos. I never had a problem with the nudity, and I still don't. I have one of the best bodies that God ever gave a female on the planet. I did enhance my chest, but nothing else has been touched, and teeth. So I felt it kind of a duty to share it with the world, to show them it's almost like the Michelangelo statue or something, and to keep that hidden under clothes. I mean, I was dying in my hometown to get out and model. It was just killing me. And, I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm still, trying not to get the liposuction, so I'm like dieting, and that's what I ate last night was the sandwich with the cheese and the turkey on it, open-faced. But, you don't take a car to the car show without chrome in the bumper, so that's what I did to make my little flash in the pan.
You could have had a very successful career as a lingerie model.
I love the lingerie catalog modeling. It was really good money. It was kind of a hard day's work, but it was great to collect the posters and the calendars and all that stuff that went with it. But I really was an LA model, and there was only a few lingerie companies here, and I modeled for them as it was for years and years. And I got to do my one Fredericks catalog cover, which was a little goal. And, I just think eventually they have to turn over the crowd and go to the younger girls. So, and I also started doing more S&M type stuff, and maybe some of the lacier companies, thought I was a real dominatrix or something. I mean, I did hear that through the grapevine, so. I can carry a whip, I can wear some high heel boots, and I am not afraid to hit somebody. There were girls in Dark Secrets that said, "You can really hit me," and I was like, "Take that, you bitch." Hit him as hard as I could just to see what it felt like. It's fun.
You've done so many films that are basically considered B movies. Is that a title you're comfortable with?
The title B movies doesn't bother me. I would maybe call them independent films or low budget. Some are C movies, some are Z movies. But, they're all art, and they're all someone's vision, and everybody's having fun. At the end of the day, people have learned something. You have to give young filmmakers and sound people and grips and gaffers, and maybe that's the same thing, but, all these people chances to grow and work on projects. And, I've had the opportunity to do that 105 times. And I'm sure there's 10 people sprinkled in there that have a mansion in Malibu and are putting their kid through college on, my 2 T's and everything else. So I think the constant appeal of these films is the fact that it's in-your-face madness and fantasies come true. I mean, I enjoy Friends, I enjoy Seventh Heaven, I watch Big Brother, but these are, girls with big breasts and big explosions and riding horses and jet skis and boats. I mean, this is what those guys would be doing if they had, 50 grand in the bank. They'd have 2 hot chicks in a bikini, like guns beside them, and they'd be in some, cigarette racer in Florida going, woohoo! They're good for a mission. I'm mostly content staying with the small films that I know and trust, but I do like to run over into that big pond where the sharks swim and, grab a little piece of bait and fucking fly back into my little pond, which I own. It's kind of like staying in high school for the rest of your life, but I get to be the prom queen every year. But I'm definitely on the lookout for cameos in big movies. But over the years, I've come to understand why I didn't get hired for leading roles in movies like that. First of all, I can't act. Second of all, I'm 6'6" with heels on. When I play David Duchovny's girlfriend, he's like a nurse on me. And I'm just too much bigger than life. And you don't really see actresses with curly, ravenous hair or supermodels with curly hair. They all have straight hair and a very generic look. I mean, go J-Lo and go, Selma Hayek and all these girls. But even though they're exotic, they're not like ravishing exotic, which I can present myself to be. I'm not that in the morning, but I'll admit that Sometimes I look pretty good.
If I'm not mistaken, you've published books already of your photos, or photos of you.
Yeah, I've had probably 3 books done, and now I have Julie Strain's Greatest Hits, which is It's Only Art If It's Well Hung, and 6 Foot One and Worth the Climb are included in. And there's also 150 new images that include pictures of me as Betty Page, pictures of me as Bride of Frankenstein, me as Betty Boop, me as Elvis, me as Marilyn Monroe, and then many pictures of the girls that I shoot, which most of them are B-movie actresses and playmates and Penthouse Pets.
Julie, do you have any favorite films that you could recommend?
They're all my favorites. They're all like children, even if you have a mean one or a bad one or one with no teeth, they're still your kids. You love them. But if I had to pick 3, I would probably pick one of my first, one around the 50th and one around the 100th. So I'm going to say Fit to Kill, which was my 10th movie, Return to Savage Beach, which may be closer to 70 or 80, and then one of my most recent films is Battle Queen 2020, which I did for Roger Corman. Roger had hired me to play the lead in The Black Scorpion, and they, after all the rehearsals and me working with the other actors and the costume being made and the mask and everything and ready to film, he decides, or someone decides for him, that they're better off with the unknown person. They're not going to do any nudity in the show, and they're just going to change the format. They basically need a fresh face. And I don't blame him. If they were selling it to Showtime or something, they have enough Julie Strain. It can't be the Julie Strain channel. So Roger felt really, really, really bad. And he called me back up because I took it pretty well, and he offered me a 2-picture deal. And so Battle Queen 2020 was our first movie that we did together. It was ultra successful, and we filmed it in Toronto. And 20 below zero. Remember like 2 or 3 winters ago when they brought in the army for the snow? That was us. Heavy Metal 2000. It's an animated movie that was not the sequel, but the second movie to the original Heavy Metal movie, which my husband spent 6 years of his own time and his own lawyer money trying to get that movie re-released. I mean, people were basically marching in the streets across America. Heavy metal, heavy metal. They were furious. It never came out on video. The rights were tied up. Ivan Reitman, blah, 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 all these different artists, and I guess it was soundtrack rights, mostly. So Kevin finally got Columbia TriStar to release it, and in '96 it became the 10th best-selling movie of the year on home video. So they were like, here, go make the second one. And since I was right there and ready, I became the star of that. And it's the first movie that I got to wear my pajamas and no makeup, and it was pretty fun. And it was, 5 years of hard work and 2 more years of publicity. It was like giving birth to an elephant that's kind of stuck in your nasal passage. And by the time the movie came out, I was ready to go, spit it out and let it run its way.
Julie Strain is a brand name. Very few other actresses in this genre, or any genre, become a brand name like yourself.
I had the tenacity to take it all the way in that area. A lot of those other people from time to time say, I'm not going to do B movies anymore. I'm only going to do A movies. So they take that break. As soon as you take a break, you're forgotten about. Those directors don't know if you're back in hometown, you're pregnant, you're with some fucking crack addict guy, that's burned all your pictures, which happens to people. I mean, the most crazy stuff happens with these girls. And I just stayed long enough to become something and was special enough to have people want to invest their company, their beginnings, their whole life earnings in me. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility. I've just always been married for one thing, and at this height, people don't know how to take me, and they see me shooting big guns and people, and I don't think they thought I was a pushover. And that just saved my butt, because I didn't have to give in to any of it. Not that I would have or wouldn't, probably not. But, I just wasn't even faced with that, so it was really nice.
Now, it's my understanding that there have been some model kits based on you. Could you tell us about those?
Yes, there's been some model kits. I'm the Unnameable 2, which is up there. It's an H.P. Lovecraft monster movie, which I played with Maria Ford, which is something I would never do again. Full prosthetics from head to toe every other day for a month and a half. Wings, hooves, stilts, 2 hours of facial appliance gluing, contacts, 2 sets of horns, the teeth, denture things, and they actually had a back brace under me where I flew through the air on a wire. And just carrying that costume around and there's claws. I mean, you couldn't go to the bathroom, you couldn't eat. I remember taking those ugly, dirty claws and trying to stick a grape in my mouth just to get to eat at lunch. And I was like, you can't hear because your ears are covered, so I just like the lonely monster. And I remember waking up one day on the set underneath a picnic table, like inside the set, and I'm sleeping under there, and people had made like a little dog dish for me. They were like pitching pennies into the thing, but I couldn't take the costume off even if I was only there for an hour. I was like, hold on. But I've also been heavy metal kits, one just of myself. If you look at the new Wonder Woman kit, it looks very suspiciously like Julie Strain. Doesn't look like anyone else but me. And I actually wore the Wonder Woman costume to the San Diego Comic Book Convention this year. And I ended up on David Letterman and on the commercial for the show that night for the whole country because I was in the Wonder Woman thing. So that was really fun. I've been fortunate enough to like say these little goals, like kind of I'm done with any goals in the business, but every once in a while I'll say, oh, I'd like to be on David Letterman, or I'd like to do the test, or I'd like to be shot by David LaChapelle, who's like the most famous photographer, or, work on VIP. And not only do these things come within a month of just verbalizing them, they come in doubles. Twice with David LaChapelle, 5 times with VIP, blah, blah, blah. It's like, fresh out of wishes. So I'm going to say one for all the people who protect our country, and the firemen and policemen and all the people that are going to war for us.
You're not so much a celebrity as you are an icon.
Cool. I like the word icon. I think it's more, a celebrity is a celebrity, and there's another celebrity, and there's another celebrity. Icons have wings, and they kind of like envelop all the celebrities and nurture them as well. I mean, who do you think is watching my movies late at night on Showtime and HBO? Spielberg, De Niro, Quentin Tarantino, all those people. So as they drift off to sleep, I'm giving them the visions for their fantasies and creativity. That's how I see it.
Were the so-called erotic thrillers a lot of fun for you?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't, until I was done and kind of segregated the types of films I did, I really didn't, say, oh, this is an erotic thriller, that one's a monster movie. It's just kind of, they all, I was just like, get in the car, going at 6 a.m., go to bed, get in the car, go to the next movie, ooh. And now that I can finally register what happened, but I love all those genres. I like, they're doing the remakes of the Creature feature, and I just did the one called How to Make a Monster with George Huang, who directed Swimming with Sharks with Kevin Spacey. And I believe, was it Stan Winston?
Stan Winston, yes.
Did my monster suit, which is this big metal monster suit that it's actually made for a guy, but I had to like strip dance with the sword in a 100-pound armor body plated crazy thing. I mean, it was just, no one else could have done it. No one else. The one role that I don't want, and I'm not looking for, will probably turn down, is anything that's a real person oriented, like a mother who loses her spouse, or a mother with the kid having trouble in school, or that's just too hard. Being silly is easy, shooting guns and making faces and love scenes, you could go right into it one after the other. It's like a comedy routine, but the real stuff, the real tears, the real emotion, that's work. I don't want to work that hard, do you? The fact that I'm so tall and so like segmented-y, kind of like a live Aeon Flux kind of body, and that I wear stupid stuff. I mean, I really try to wear the silliest stuff. I'm like driving in the car for, Day of the Warrior, and I pull up in my driveway out there. It was a little BMW Z3, and I had the light blue matching fur outfit, and I get off out of the car and I bend over so that the skirt goes up and they can see a peek of my underwear. And there's like all my little extra things I do to make the film fun and interesting, but costumes are a big part of it, and they make it very cartoon-like. I supply everything myself. I actually have costumes made in advance of even knowing when I have projects, because I know I'm going to need something like that, and I know what I want to look like. And when someone has a budget for, say, an Andy Sedaris movie, their whole budget might be $150 per person for their wardrobe for the movie. That's one shoe of mine. Do you know what I mean? But I can bring all this production value to it. And if you look at shows like VIP, it's an Andy Sedaris movie with a different title, which is, it's a good compliment.
But looking back, are you pretty well satisfied with the way your career has turned out?
Absolutely. Couldn't be happier. I've amassed such a nice compilation of movies and fun TV shows. Like, I'm not getting stuck on stupid ones. I'm doing fun ones like The Test and The List, and more celebrity-oriented things where I get to be myself and be campy. End up on David Letterman as Wonder Woman. I mean, those are great little things. And I didn't have to work that hard, and I don't have to do anything extra than what I'm doing on the set or in my house now speaking with you.
You can become a celebrity by being a centerfold model, and yet it doesn't always have a happy ending.
It doesn't always pan out. I mean, there's 12 girls a year, and there's 40 years. Do the math. I mean, there's not even that many TV series around. And, you know, while those girls were out signing headshots at the car convention, you know, Holly Hunter, whoever, was in, 3-year heavy-duty acting class where people are naked on stage and, defecate and do all this, mad acting crash skills stuff. And, people spending the big money at the box office, they want people who are going to take them into a world and make them forget theirs. If you can't do that, you don't deserve to be on the big screen. I don't deserve to be on the big screen. Unless it's in a campy, silly, gun-wielding, whipping, comic booky, horseback riding warrior Conan type of way. Well, I don't have to talk much. At least I'm honest. If you're 10 years old and you think you want to be an actor, start taking an acting class. Go to theater. The freshmen in high school, you can take a little acting class. Put yourself in it. All these people say, oh, I want to be an A-star. If you put that person in front of a big camera and a large crew right now, they'd have a load in their diaper of fear. I mean, there's so much that goes with it. So really, even in any career someone's going to choose, why not study up in advance, Use your math skills, take your history classes, do whatever you think that's going to help target you into what you want to do. If you're going to end up in Hollywood, hopefully you have rich parents. I'm so happy. I'd be a little happier if I had more energy and a little more Julie time, downtime, cooking time, grocery store time. But, that's all dabbling in here, It's 30 miles in, 30 miles out. So to back off from the career, I had to gently do it. And, I still have my show on the Playboy channel, Sex Court, where I play the judge, Judge Julie. And we had, it came out on home video last year, and in the Billboard charts, I think it was the 5th best-selling movie right after Star Wars and Matrix.
Any misconceptions when people, and I'm sure people recognize you on the street?
Misconceptions. People think I'm mean. People think I am a real dominatrix. People might think I'm a real lesbian, and none of those are true. People probably would never, unless they got to know me, know that I had a brain and was a smart person or a genuine person or a good cook, or that I went to the hospital this week and saw my friend who was paralyzed and spent a whole day and spent the whole next day piecing together dental floss and scrunchies and things that she needed and didn't have, sweats and shirts and things like that. There's a lot of more Julie Strain on that side, I think, than the icon side. Or maybe it's 50-50. Your pick.
Join me here again on the wild side of the imagination, where a sense of wonder and a feeling of terror can often intersect. You'll find us waiting here, the dark dreamers.